In previous modules, you've encountered Universal Design for Learning, or UDL. But now I want us to dig deeper into what this framework really means for creating high-engagement asynchronous courses. Let me start with the question. How many times have you designed an assignment or activity that worked beautifully for most students, but left a few struggling? Not because they didn't understand the content, but because the format itself created barriers. Maybe a student with ADHD struggled with a long discussion thread, or an ESL learner needed more processing time than your quiz allowed. UDL offers us a systematic way to anticipate and design around these barriers from the start. UDL is built on 3 fundamental principles, and I want you to think about these not as checkboxes, but as design questions you ask yourself through your course development. First is multiple means of representation, the what of learning. This principle asks, am I presenting information in only one format? In asynchronous courses, this might mean providing both text-based instructions and a short video walkthrough, or offering visual diagrams alongside written explanations. The research shows that when faculty implement this principle, students across all backgrounds report better engagement, whether they have documented disabilities or not. Second is multiple means of action and expression, the how of learning. This is where things get really interesting for asynchronous design. Instead of requiring every student to demonstrate their understanding through a traditional essay, what if they could choose to create a video presentation, an infographic, a podcast episode, or yes, still a traditional essay? The systematic reviews tell us that students especially value this flexibility. It's not about lowering standards. It's about separating the learning objective from the delivery format. Third is multiple means of engagement, the why of learning. This principle recognizes that what motivates one student might not work for another. Some students thrive on competition and leaderboards. Others find them anxiety-inducing. Some love collaborative work, others need solitary, deep thinking time. In asynchronous courses, this might mean offering both individual and group project options, or varying your discussion formats throughout the semester. Let me give you a concrete example from my own teaching. I applied the UDL principles to my final research project for my asynchronous course. For the assignment, I provided a written assignment sheet, a 10-minute video where I walked students through each part of the assignment, examples of successful projects from previous students, and optional office hour sessions. For submissions, students could write a traditional research paper, record a formal lecture with visuals, or record a podcast episode. What happened? First, students stopped emailing me basic questions about the assignment because they could engage with the instructions in the format that worked best for them. Second, this surprised me. The quality of work actually improved because the students could focus their energy on the research rather than wrestling with the format that didn't suit their strengths. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds like 3 times the work. And yes, implementing UDL does require some upfront investment. But here's what the research doesn't always capture. Once you build these multiple pathways, they're reusable and often require less maintenance than fixing access issues one student at a time. Another concern I hear, won't students just choose the easiest option? The evidence doesn't support this fear. When we give students meaningful choices, they tend to challenge themselves. They're intrinsically motivated by autonomy. They become self-directed learners rather than people just checking off to-do lists. And here's something exciting. Asynchronous courses are actually ideal environments for UDL. You have time to design multiple representations without the pressure of live class sessions. Students can engage with materials at their own pace and return to them as needed. That student who needs to watch your lecture video 3 times, in an asynchronous course, they can do that without feeling left behind. As you think about your own courses, I encourage you to start small. Pick one high-stakes assignment and ask yourself those 3 design questions. Am I offering multiple ways to access the content? Am I offering multiple ways to show understanding? Am I offering multiple ways to stay engaged and motivated? The research consistently shows that UDL strategies create more flexible, responsive learning environments where students can show up authentically. And that's ultimately what we're all working toward in our teaching.